welcome. Welcome to this morning's meditation. Oh, I'm just checking, is that my mic working? So if anyone comes on live, I'd love to hear the volume's working. I thought last night I was tuning in to what practice to do. One of you requested a meditation, so and what came to me is grief. And grief, I know, is not an emotion that we like to delve into. But there is a lot of grief in our world at this time. I suppose there always is, but there's a lot of grief surfacing and potentially a lot of unresolved grief. So this practice that I'm going to share, it's a very gentle, simple meditation invoking the wisdom of Goddess Dhumavati. Dhumavati is the grandmother, crone goddess of the 10 Mahavijaya wisdom goddesses. So she's a lesser known goddess. Like most people, when we hear Indian goddesses, we think of Durga, or Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kali. Dhumavati is a very powerful goddess. So it came to me to do this meditation with Dhumavati, because I know many friends and people in my community are suffering from a lot of grief. There's a lot of illness, personal illness in some friends, as well as some friends are dying and their loved ones are dying. So that's grief, I suppose, at a more extreme end. But grief can also be around a simple loss of or disappointment of an expectation. So please don't run a mile if I'm talking about grief from the very extreme end. Although those of us who are entering our older years and aging, grief becomes a natural part of life. I know, pre-40, in my 30s and 20s, I was very oblivious to grief and certainly didn't have the skills to process and deal with grief and loss. And then in my 40s, when my dad passed away, when one of my children was diagnosed with a lifetime chronic illness, my own health crisis. So many griefs came and piled up one on top of the other. And it was at that time that I discovered the wisdom goddesses. And particularly this goddess Dhumavati has been beautifully helpful for my process. So I hope this meditation helps you. So just for those who maybe are new to working with the wisdom goddesses, the idea is that these goddesses represent archetypal symbols and energies in our world. So when we invoke them, you don't need to believe in goddesses or follow any goddess tradition. Just follow my guidance, and through my invoking the archetypal wisdom, that energy will be created and shared in our space. And you can read more about that on my blogs or tuning into different things I share. And Dhumavati, let me just introduce some of her symbology before we enter the practice. So Dhumavati is depicted as an elderly woman, a crone, so post-70, maybe even 80 or 90. She sits alone on her chariot, and the chariot's not moving, it's going nowhere. So this symbolizes stillness. She has an animal consort, as all of the goddesses do, and hers is the crow. So the crow, through many shamanic teachings, also has quite a deep symbol to death and loss and grief. She also is holding a winnowing basket, a basket sorting through seeds for next season, because she's the goddess of wintertime. crone goddess is at the time of the deep winter. So it's a very important practice for us to start to tap into the wisdom of winter, the wisdom of the crone, because what she gifts us is this beautiful practice of being able to let go. I often think about that process of dying on a deathbed. Many people on their deathbed have quite strong epiphanies of what they need to let go of. And the beauty of practicing with Dhumavati is we can practice this in our yoga before our deathbed, which brings this incredible wisdom of surrender, of deep peace, acceptance, and deep love. Just recently on a retreat I went on, I had this epiphany of this deep coupling between grief and love. When we can love someone so dearly, and when we see them suffering, so if I bring tears to my eyes, if we see them suffering, there can be deep grief, and the love can grow stronger and the grief can go stronger. And if this joining between grief and love doesn't find a way to sit at ease and peace, that could cause quite a lot of suffering and attachment. Whereas when we can sit with the grief and the love, there can be an immense power in that. So that was what I was going to say about the winnowing basket. She sits sorting through the seeds and the chaff. So the chaff is the outer husks, which can go into the compost or to the mulch. And she's sorting out and taking out the seeds for the next season or maybe the next life. So the pearls, and letting go of what isn't needed. So that's quite a nice symbology as well of when we can sit with whatever's arising, tuning into, and then noticing, is this worth focusing on? Is this worth keeping? Is this worth being a part of my life? And if it's not, to be letting that go, to be free of that, so that then what we maintain and hold is very precious. So let's come to our seated position. So I am outdoors. If there's a distant chainsaw humming, apologies for that. You may also hear the birds. As I set up the camera, I noticed the crows were coming in. So when we work with these goddesses, the symbology sometimes comes alive in sounds and in presence of animals, or so just notice whatever arises. So as we come to our seated position, start to notice your sit bones grounding to the earth or to your chair if you're seating on a cushion or a chair. Just noticing your natural breath, travelling in through the nose, exhale through the open mouth. Taking some deeper breaths all the way down to the belly. As you exhale, softening into your body, releasing any surface tension, maybe in the shoulders if you need to move the body at all. To get comfortable, do so. I'm also noticing the spaciousness above the crown, so the top of the head, the top chakra of your energetic field, your body's energy field, crown. This is where Dhumavati can reside, within the void of spaciousness. Feeling that connection to the spaciousness above whilst we're grounding through the base. Just bringing your hands to the center of the chest, your heart space. Connecting here to your beautiful heart. Taking a few breaths. Really noticing the spaciousness within your heart. The depth of your heart, how deep it can feel. So we notice whatever's arising. So if our mind's busy, that's okay, we welcome everything. But we're bringing our awareness and each breath down into the spaciousness of the heart. You can keep your hands at the heart or lower them in the lap if that's more comfortable. We're going to keep our awareness here at the heart center, Anahata heart chakra. This beautiful place where we feel love and compassion, place of deep wisdom. So Dhumavati, Dhum means smoke, so she's known as the smoky one. So if you can imagine, just as you're sitting with your closed eyes or soft gaze looking to the floor in front, if you could imagine a smoky haze, a grey silver light smoky haze. We're going to imagine breathing in this smoky haze, drawing it in through the nose, down into the heart space, where we're going to imagine this wisdom of Dhumavati seeking out any attachments, any desires. And as we exhale, we gently let these go. Inhale, beautiful smoky haze and wisdom of Dhumavati. And exhale. Anything that's arising that you feel is an attachment, that you maybe feel is causing you, what came to my mind then was knots of attachment. Just it's allowing this gentle process of starting to soften into letting go. Smoke can represent the illusion of what we think or believe is a reality or a truth. And that when we connect to this deeper wisdom in the heart through Dhumavati, we're connecting to a deeper truth. Some of these surface illusionary attachments, even if it is to our physical body or to a loved one who we're wanting to be happy and healthy, if we can just let go a little of the attachment of it being something, continuing connecting to your beautiful heart space. On each exhale, just letting go. And it can be a slow process of letting go. We can notice new things arise that we might be attached to. Maybe it's thoughts, maybe it's a pain in the body, maybe it's a belief, a struggle with meditation, maybe it's belief, I don't know what these goddesses are. Whatever is arising, we bring the practice back to this real pure simplicity. Breathing in the symbol of the smoke, and exhale, letting go. Continue to stay in this beautiful space if you wish to. You could also light a candle or a fire in a hearth and observe the symbology of the smoke, how the smoke moves and transforms and transmutes. If you see a crow as you go about your day, also tune in to the crow's wisdom. So I really encourage you to create some space for some nothingness, the void, for some deep rest. And in my experience with grief, after having attended many yoga ashrams and yoga workshops and retreats and trainings in my earlier life where emotion was not necessarily valued. In fact, it was shunned upon and seen as not spiritual. Just remember, a feminine approach to yoga embraces all emotion. So if tears arise through the meditation, really allowing space for these emotions to be felt, to be expressed, reach out to loved ones if you need it to be witnessed. You can do this practice again and again once you've got the really simple technique of imagining the smoke, allowing it to transmute grief into a beautiful place of stillness and peace where our love can flow.